We are continuing our breaking news coverage of what is turning out to be the worst night of Donald Trump's second term as president. And today, even before the Wall Street Journal reporting about this birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein, in the United States Senate, Democrats were demanding more about the Epstein Files, especially as they might involve Emil Bove, who is Donald Trump's former criminal defense lawyer, now working in the Trump Justice Department in a high-level position, who has been nominated by Donald Trump for a federal appeals court position, which the Senate will be voting on soon. This is what happened in the Senate Judiciary Committee today about that.
After receiving credible information, I sent a letter to Mr. Bove requesting that he explain his role in reviewing and withholding information about the Epstein files. That's something that should be basic for this committee. Just give us the information. He held a leadership role at the Department of Justice since the beginning of the Trump administration after months of public statements about, quote unquote, truckloads of documents in the Epstein files. The DOJ and the FBI suddenly decided that there's no need to do any kind of disclosures. There's nothing to see here. Look away. Which one is it? The public has a right to know, and a person being nominated for one of the highest courts in our land, who clearly played a role in this matter of grave national concern, including child sex trafficking, we should know what he knew and what he did in this matter. I've requested responses to these questions by 9 a.m. this morning, and we have heard nothing as a committee. And yet we're moving forward.
Joining us now is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who was in the room for that today. Senator, that was about 12 hours ago, what we just saw in the committee hearing room. And that feels like a long ago age of innocence in this story compared to where we are at this hour tonight. In your experience as a former federal prosecutor, what do you make of Donald Trump saying, let's put out some grand jury transcripts that Pam Bondi decides are pertinent?
Well, first of all, if you go into a case like this, you could have an enormous case file. You could have an enormous array of evidence. You could have physical evidence. You could have the FBI 302s. You could have papers that you seized. You could have video recordings, audio recordings. And you take a small sliver of what you've got, and you take that small sliver into the grand jury to get what you want, which is the indictment, the permission from the grand jury to go forward with your charge against this individual, that there is probable cause. And there's probably another prosecutor waiting outside with a case that they want to bring to the grand jury. So you don't want to waste their time. You're selective about what you bring in. It is exceedingly rare for what the grand jury evidence is in a case to be anything but a small fraction of what the full file is. And then you put in weasel words like pertinent, and all of a sudden there's Pam Bondi able to make all sorts of decisions about what people don't get to see. So don't be misled by that. I think the more interesting news was his threat to sue, right? If he wants to put this behind him, he's got to file a complaint. More news. The Wall Street Journal gets to answer. More news. They might attach exhibits to their answer. Way more news. And people may start to notice that the person who put that book together was Ghislaine Maxwell, who is alive and available to testify about where she got Trump's Happy Secrets letter. Again, more news. There is a real whiff of desperation about the Trump White House right now.
And, Senator, there does seem to be a chaotic response going on. You have J.D. Vance and Donald Trump disagreeing about one thing. Donald Trump absolutely is not asking anyone to release that letter. J.D. Vance is demanding the release of that letter. That letter could be absolutely disastrous to the future of the Trump presidency. But J.D. Vance really wants to see it. And Donald Trump, he just would like to see some sanitized grand jury pages.
Yeah, or not see those, actually, because a court steps in to say no, or Pam Bondi has shrunk it so much that even the grand jury material is only a sliver of the sliver itself. But I think they're just looking at real significant legal trouble right now. What if Rupert Murdoch attaches to his answer in response to Trump's complaint, not only the actual document, which is highly relevant to the complaint about that document so that everybody can see it, but also an affidavit from Ghislaine Maxwell that says, here's how I came to get it. Here is what my conversation with Trump was when he gave it to me. Here are the things we laughed about and said to each other as he wrote his signature in the crotch area of the woman. I mean, he is inviting a fatal blow from the Wall Street Journal in the way he's proceeding.
Senator, you're also a member of the Senate Finance Committee. That's where the money is, and you've been very good at teaching us to follow the money. Ron Wyden, former chairman of the Senate Finance Committee when the Democrats had control of the Senate, now the top Democrat on the committee, went to the Senate floor today to say something that was startling to me. He said that the Treasury Department has records of 4,725 wire transfers of approximately $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Jeffrey Epstein's bank accounts. And Ron Wyden and others would like to see more about those wire transfers. That's an expansion of the definition of interest in the Epstein Files. And as you've taught us, that's the part that really usually has a lot of information for us, where that money is going and where it's coming from.
Yeah, banks, in order to comply with the anti-money laundering laws of the United States, are obliged to file SARS, suspicious activity reports, when the flow of money triggers certain considerations that lead to concern about money laundering. And obviously, for years, this has been going on with respect to Epstein's funds. The amount is, I think, $1.5 billion. It is very significant funds. And Chairman Wyden, our ranking member, Senator Wyden, has been extraordinarily diligent and determined about continuing to dig into this from his position, but he can only get limited access. And the next step is to get the executive branch to provide a more fulsome description of what is going on out there. There are a lot of payments that look like they went to young women who may very well have been part of his child sex trafficking scheme. So this is a whole other new bucket, is probably too small a word, dumpster of dangerous evidence, and a lot more for people to chew on. Again, it's going to keep the Epstein story and this saga and Trump's role in it in the news for a long time.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, thank you very much for joining us with your invaluable perspective tonight.
Good to be with you.
Thank you.